This piece, after the last video, I decided to add these two little decals here, which I made, little birds of a bird. I think it's called Bird Song mold by Iron Orchid. And I added these and then waited for them to dry. And then all of the molds I added, I just used a water-based brown paint to color them in. And you can see on the drawer here, the drawer front where I put these, I had copied from here and put these here because these do not match, but they're of the same kind of period. And I'm just trying to make them look like they match more. And I put some of the little balls here, and I did a little repair right here where that was missing. So, but I've got those colored in, and I've got this tops taped off because I'm going to strip the tops and seal them. But I'm going to now just use Ben white shellac to shellac the pieces that aren't going to be stained so they don't bleed through. Okay, you can see how this is kind of bleeding through with the first coat of this shellac, so I will probably have to do another coat to keep it from coming through because I'm going to be painting this white, so. Hopefully that'll not come through if I do two coats. Going over this one with the white Ben shellac, and this one may only need one coat because I don't really see the bleeding at all coming through like the other one, but we'll see when it dries. And I have taped off the bottom front of the legs even though they're not the same style. I'm just trying to make it so that it can be similar to this one. I am going to leave the top of this wood and the top of the nightstand wood. So I am going to use this citrus strip and put it on and get these stripped. And I'm not trying to strip it down to the bare wood. I really just want to get some of the finish off of it and see what it looks like. I'm hoping it will kind of hide some of these scratches that it's got on it too. Help hide those a little bit. Because I'll probably put a little bit of stain, and it's probably going to be water-based stain on top when this is done to fill in where the scratches are. Yeah, I'm watching my grandbaby. Okay, so we can do this one. I am giving everything that I painted white a clear coat of this Minwax paste finishing wax. And I'm using a brush that I only use for clear wax. I don't use it for white or dark wax or black wax at all, because it's almost impossible to get that all out of your wax brush. So I just reserve this one, and I have it marked on here, clear wax only. And then anytime you're waxing something, if you're waxing something that's white or light color, you want to use a light colored buffing cloth to buff it when you get it on, to wipe off any of the excess and just to seal it good. And if you're waxing something that's dark, you want to use a dark cloth. And you want to spread it on as thin as you can get it, but yet where it's all covered. guess. I have put on the gel stain by Polyurethane in the hickory color, and I wiped that on and then wiped off the excess, and I had to leave it dry for 2 days. And then now I'm just using the Minwax fast drying polyurethane in clear to seal it, and I'll probably do several coats and sand in between. I'm going to use this Dixie Belle Big Mama's butter. And they make different scents in this. So this one is Suzanne's Garden, and it smells like potpourri. And they have one that's in orange also. I think I might try that one next. But this is really good to use for doing the runners and for the drawers. This one has this cute little money dish here for change, or keys, whatever. That can go in there, and this slides back around wherever you want. And you can see the difference in the drawer. A lot of times if you have little scratches in the drawers from just putting things in them, it will remove all of those. I am going to use my little sponge sander to just scuff sand the top of this, because I have one coat of polyurethane on it, and this just takes some of the little pieces off the top, that little dust or whatever that lands on it, and makes it kind of bumpy on the top, little nits. So I get all those off. I've got the scuff sanded and wiped down, so I'm going to be adding another coat of this Minwax polyurethane, and it's in clear semi-gloss. I use usually a satin and clear for the Minwax, because you really can't buy Minwax, I don't believe, in or the polyurethane in flat. But I use this because I want a really durable waterproof finish, and also because I don't use this on the white part because it will actually turn yellow over time. I've actually done that in the past where I had to redo a whole piece because it just yellowed. And at first I thought it was bleed through, but it was just the polyurethane turning yellow. But on wood, you don't notice it. So, and it's very durable. So I'm going to do another coat, and I think this will be the last coat that I need. I'm just doing a thin coat. Okay, I'm just going to scuff sand with my sponge sander again on this piece, and I am going to put a coat, I think, of the hand rubbed poly on it. I've got one that's just a satin finish instead of the satin gloss, which this is polyurethane satin gloss. And I just don't want it to be quite as shiny as it is. So I'm thinking I may just rub some poly on it, just to kind of take some of the shine off a little. The other Minwax polyurethane was actually a semi-gloss, not a satin gloss. And this one is clear satin, so it's going to dry not quite as shiny as what it's on there now. These are all the products that I used on this piece, and I cleaned it really well inside and out with Crud Cutter. And then you want to kind of rinse it off with a clean, damp towel at the end. And then this is, I used, it's white Ben shellac. Since I was painting the bottom white, I just did the bottom part with the shellac because I'm going to stain the top. But this is what I used. It's just in white. And then I painted it with the Behr chalk paint. And this is the Behr paint with calcium carbonate in it. And I keep it in this jug because I use a lot of it, but it keeps it good. And then after it was painted with think it was 2 or 3 coats when it's dry. I just use usually 120 to 180 grit to distress it. And once it gets distressed, and I also use a sponge sander to just sponge sand the whole entire piece just to smooth it. Then I put on paste finishing wax and clear or natural. And I have a wax brush that I only use for this color, natural, because the wax brushes are impossible to clean. And if you use white wax or dark wax with this wax brush, the next time you go to do clear, it's going to come through. So I use this only for clear wax. And once it was all waxed, I put it on with this brush real thin, and then I take a soft cloth and just buff it off, the excess. Then I put some bronze gilding wax, this is by Dixie Belle, on the hardware for the drawers. So I rubbed that on and polished it before I put the hardware on. Then inside the drawers I did Dixie Belle's Big Mama's Butter. And this comes in different scents, but this one's Suzanne's Garden, and it's very potpourri smelling. And I just use an old brush to brush it on good and then wipe the excess off of the cloth. But you also want to use that on the drawer runners so that it makes them slide nice, but it also makes the drawers smell really nice and it conditions them. So a lot of times this stuff will take out a lot of scratches. If they've had something that's rough been in the drawer, it'll literally almost take them away. So this stuff's really great. Then I did the top, and I should have probably done the top first, but I didn't. I used this citrus strip to strip it with, and you let it sit. This brand here, each one's different, but this one I think was said 30 minutes to sit. Some of them now say only 10 minutes. But then I used a scraper to scrape this off. Then I used the odorless mineral spirits on a cloth or rag to just kind of get the rest of this off, to melt it off, clean it off. And then I did put one coat of this Polyurethane gel stain and hickory on it just to even out the color. And I used a coat of this Minwax polyurethane. And this one was semi-gloss. I normally like just satin, but because this was so shiny, I scuff sanded in between and used a coat of wipe on poly and clear satin so that it wouldn't be quite so shiny. But those are all the products I used on this piece. I hope you enjoyed the video, and I hope you like how it turned out. If you like it, please like and subscribe, and thanks for watching.